I wanted to give an account of a couple of dreams that I've had. Two dreams were end of the world dreams, tribulation dreams, whatever you want to call them, and then another one was about the antichrist. I think it was a warning dream about him that I had very recently. One of the first dreams that I had, and I didn't think it made sense. This was probably back in early 2000. I was staying at a friend's house, and what happened is, in this dream, I was staying at a friend's house, and there were three others that were staying with us. And if you looked out the picture window, you could see bodies of water, and then Russia. You could see right into Russia. And they had just announced that they had launched a nuclear attack on us, and it was going to take about 24 hours to hit us, and basically there was nothing they could do to stop it. So, we thought we had 24 hours to live, so we tried to stay up as long as we possibly could. It ended up, I ended up being the first one to wake up. Obviously, we didn't stay awake all night. And I jumped up and I looked out the window, and I saw the sun starting to rise. And I started rejoicing, and I started yelling for everybody to get up, get up, get up, come look out the window. The sun's coming up, we're going to live. So everybody kind of jumped up because we were all sleeping in the floor. And we ran right to the picture window, and we saw the sun coming up. And the sun was coming up, and it was getting higher and higher in the sky. And of course, the higher it went, the more we started to rejoice that we were going to live. And then it got up to the highest peak, and then all of a sudden the sun just exploded. And then I woke up. So I don't know if that has anything to do with what's going on now with possibly Russia, but I just wanted to share that one. The next one, I used to live up on Mountain Lake. It used to be, if you ever heard of the movie Dirty Dancing, it was filmed up there, so it was a very high elevation, and I used to work there in the summers. So I lived just a few miles from the hotel. Well, in this dream, from the front of the house, water was coming like in waves, and it was hitting the front of the house, just smashing into it. And we pretty much figured that everybody else has already perished at this point. So it was my dad, my brother, and one of the neighbors down below. We decided to go up to the barn. I do not know the significance of this, but we had to get bulletproof vests. So I have no idea what that means, but that's what was in my dream. So after that, I'm not sure, we came back down, and myself and my dad, we were standing at the back doorstep. Now, water is coming from the other side, which is meaning, like from the mountains, it's coming over the mountain and hitting the back of our house now. Water was hitting the doorstep, just rushing, hitting the doorstep. And all of a sudden, we heard the loudest explosion in the sky. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But it came from the sky, and it was just boom! And I looked at my dad, and he looked at me, and he said, "The heavens have bursted." And then I woke up. So obviously in these two dreams, I woke up in pure terror. This last dream that I had, this was this summer, 12 months ago, somewhere around there. This was a warning dream, I believe, about the Antichrist. There was a group of five or six people. I had no idea who they were, but we were a very tight group. And what our mission was is we were to do attacks on who we thought was the Antichrist. We weren't going to stop him, but we were trying to slow him down and just cause as much trouble for him as we possibly could. So every night we would rotate meeting at each other houses to try to devise a plan on what we're going to do, how we're going to attack him, how we're going to slow him down, how we're going to save other people. So, we had this guy figured out, pegged that, who we thought was the Antichrist was the Antichrist. We ended up being very wrong about that. We actually discovered within our group that it was one of the guys who was actually in our group with us. He was the Antichrist. We have been with him the entire time and never knew it. So when we realized this, we're like, we cannot let him know that we know who he is. So we kind of tried to play it off, and we knew that we had to make a plan to get away from him at some point, and that we can never return back to our houses because he knows where we live. So on one of the other attacks that we were going to do, we were riding around. It looks like one of the old army trucks, one of the old military trucks you saw back in Vietnam. He was driving, and the rest of us were out, in the back of that. So we pulled up actually at a convenience store, and he stayed in the truck. He was driving, and we all hopped out. So we kind of gathered ourselves inside the store, and we're like, now's our chance. Now's our chance to get away from him. This is the only opportunity we're going to have. So we took off running, busted out the back door, and started running across this field. And as we're looking out through the field, we could see, some houses in behind it. So we're like, if we can get there, we can hide in somebody's house for safety. So we're running across this field with everything that we have trying to get there. And we're running, and then I happened to turn around and just briefly look behind me, and he was right behind me. He was running right after us. So obviously we got exposed, and he was coming after us. So my interpretation of that particular dream is that even the elites are going to be deceived by him. So that's kind of what I'm taking away from that. So that's just a couple of dreams that I've had recently, and I will add that with some of the other dreams I've had, I hope you're prepping. Prepare for a famine. It's coming. I've had multiple dreams about an upcoming famine, and I had one just a couple weeks ago about a tidal wave or tsunami in the northeast area, northeast coast in the New York area. So anyway, these are some of my dreams, and I hope you find them helpful, and I thank you for listening.